Dear respected Thai, dear brothers here in the hall, dear Sangha, today is Mother's Day, and I would like to send my love to my mother for supporting me all the time in so many ways to be here right now. All the conditions she had prepared and was there for me. And I want to also thank her mother and the mother of my mother's mother. I want to thank the ancestral stream of my blood ancestors going far back. And I also want to thank our teacher Thai for nourishing me, for being such a transformative and meaningful also mother to me, with a lot of love and care, teaching me how to handle life, how to take care of myself. And I would also like to say thank you to Thai's teacher and the teacher of Thai's teacher and the stream of our spiritual ancestors going far back to the Buddha, who is sitting here behind me very peacefully and having my back, literally, and I feel safe and at ease, knowing that both my blood ancestors, and we have an altar here for our blood ancestors, and my spiritual ancestors on the other side, with the Buddha having my back, I know I can be very grateful. I want to share a story with you, a classic Zen story about a man and a horse, and you might know it. There is a horse, and this horse is galloping very fast, racing. And the man on the horse, it looks like he needs to go somewhere very important. Maybe his wife is giving birth, or he has an urgent message for the king to deliver. They're racing. And there is a man standing at the side of the road, seeing that. And as they come racing by, this man shouts, "Hey, where are you going?" And the man on the horse replies, "I don't know, ask the horse." Off he goes. And this man stands there. Ask the horse. Ask the horse. So the title of the talk today I chose is Taming the Tiger Within. And you might ask, why taming the tiger within? Well, I don't know. Ask the tiger. In Buddhist teachings, the horse stands for habit energies. And the same as the horseman, it just carries us away. And we don't know where it is going. These strong habit energies, they take the choice from us. They are running us away. And we don't know where we will get to. And the tiger stands for strong emotions within us. And the tiger is a dangerous animal. And so can be strong emotions. They can threaten us and threaten the people around us. And I believe in these times where we are staying more at home, that our habit energies show up more often. And also more strong, being with people around us for a longer time, being closer with family. And I remember my dad telling me when I was a little kid, he said, people are habitual animals. They get used to everything. Habitual animals, that's a German word, and it translates into creature of habit in English. But in German you say Gewohnheitstier, a habitual animal. And I remember I was confused when he said that people are habitual animals. I was confused. I was a kid of 5 or 6. How can a human be an animal? It just didn't sit right with me. But now I see the horse, the tiger, maybe he was referring to that. And also he said, they're getting used to everything. And I see nowadays we're getting used to everything. They say, stay at home, save lives. We stay at home and we save lives. And some of us got used to go out and they struggle a little bit, but if it takes longer, we will get used to that too. We got used to not going to baseball games anymore. We got used to not going to rock concerts anymore. So this metaphor of the horse as a strong habit energy, I found is a little bit outdated. I mean, nobody has an urgent message for the king anymore. We don't ride horses. So I want to offer maybe a more modern or a more accurate version of that, which is a moving walkway. Imagine in airports. So you come there with your trolley and you can walk like the 100 yards, or you see there's this walkway, and that makes it much easier for me. So you go with your trolley, you step on that walkway, and it does everything for you. You don't need to think. You don't need to do anything, not to move your legs. But also you cannot do anything. It will just take you, basically like the horse. Now you find yourself on that walkway, and you slowly are walked forward. And then you think, oof, I haven't had a coffee. Maybe I'd like to buy a coffee. And sure enough, on the right side of the walkway there is a coffee shop. But not for you. You are on the walkway. There is no exit. Then you walk, or you get walked a little bit further. You think, wow, this is a long flight. Maybe I want to buy a magazine or a book. And yes, there is the bookshop to your right, passing by. Not for you, maybe later. And you need to see the restroom, really urgent. And the restroom is right there, but you cannot access it. I mean, you can like jump over the handle, but we know it's not legal and it's also dangerous. And you could turn around and run or walk against the walkway, but if you ever tried to walk or saw a kid walking against the walkway, you know that you don't move, you stay at the same place. So we have to wait until that walkway unloads us somewhere in the future. We have to be patient and without control and choice until the end of the walkway. And I find this makes more sense to me. So, as you can imagine, it's going to be in the direction of habit energies today. And let us have a closer look at what kind of habit energies we have. We often look at other languages, older languages, if we want to describe things in sutras or teachings, because they often offer us the roots of the word or the meaning of the word. So we look into Pali, Sanskrit, or Chinese. And I looked up habit in Chinese to see what it says. And usually we have 2 characters in Chinese, different words that come together and build a new word. And from these 2 words you can see where it came from. So let me write down habit in Chinese for you. I remember I don't write Chinese. Maybe I should make that a habit. But I know someone who does, Brother Minyan. Would you be so kind and write habit in Chinese, just here in the upper middle, please? Brother Minyan is my roommate, and he's excellent in Chinese. He's writing calligraphies, and I see him diligently studying. Amazing. And his name, translated, is Brother Kindness. And I find this is very kind of you to help me out here in this situation. Wow. This is habit, huh?
Quite a simplified one.
Okay, that's good enough for me. I wouldn't have seen the difference. Thank you very much, Brother Minyan. So 2 characters. What I do know, because I looked it up, that the word habit in Chinese consists of this character here, which means learning. Or and receive training in. That's pretty clear and like goes into a certain direction. To learn something, like a habit, we learn something. We receive training in something. Practicing is another translation. The second word means, now I don't have too much space, but we will get around. To be used to. Aha. Or to be accustomed to. Accustomed to. Also makes sense for the word habit. It's a nice combination. So we're learning to get used to something. We receive training in to be accustomed to something, to learn a habit. And to me it sounds like little by little these continuous drops wear a stone, little strokes fell big oaks, right? We learn something and we get used to it. So we'll come back to that later, to that meaning. What kind of habits do we see or face in our daily lives? And when I look at my habits, I see some of them are like a ritual. I make a ritual out of it, I dedicate a time. And some are more routine, as we said, to save time, to save energy, like stepping on the walkway instead of walking. I want to save energy. So we have a ritual, let's say, versus a routine. Can you read that from over there? And a ritual is something you practice with awareness. You're very awake. Let's say awake versus asleep. When you do a routine and you do it just for the sake of not wasting much thinking, you don't have to be really there. So we can say the first one is like mindfulness versus forgetfulness. Forgetfulness. And to give you an example, like a ritual can be like a tea ceremony. And we all like to drink tea. And we know how much care and these tiny little pots it demands. And having this wonderful roommate, Brother Kindness, he doesn't only have Chinese skills, he also has Japanese skills, because he's a matcha master. And it's amazing to watch him making tea. He takes only a little amount of this green powder and he puts it there, then a little amount of water, whisking, not too much. And he really has to be there in order not to do too much or too hard or too little. And it becomes a ritual. Versus, let us say, coffee, tea and coffee. Everybody knows, I guess, when you wake up in the morning and you find your way to the kitchen, to where you assume the coffee machine was yesterday, half asleep, and you make your coffee. And sometimes you would fill the water into the bean hopper or the coffee ground into the container where the water goes because you're still asleep. The other day, when Brother Minyan was making matcha, I wanted to put the beans in my grinder and I spilled it and they were everywhere. And I was like, oh, why is this always happening before coffee? You know? And the answer is because it is before coffee. After coffee, these things wouldn't happen. You would be awake, mindful. So this is a difference between ritual and routine, just to give you like an example. Another kind of habit energy, there are good habit energies. Shall I continue just here? There's the word habit already. Good habits versus bad habits. And because that sounds so bad, let's say we have helpful habits that contribute to our well-being. Helpful habits versus harmful. They harm us. And what do they harm? I mean, we're talking in terms of practice. We are practitioners. I guess everybody who's watching a Dharma talk has something to do with mindfulness and is eager to develop its practice. So helpful versus harmful means to establish a practice body, more mindfulness, to go deeper. And what are good habits and bad habits? Oops. This is God habit, do you see that? A God habit is surely a good habit. So as practitioners is the best habit. As practitioners, let me get my energy cable right here. As practitioners, for sure, a good habit to cultivate is to follow your breathing first thing waking up. You know, you wake up in the morning, and if you don't follow your breathing first thing, your mind might take over like the horse and carry you somewhere. For example, to the coffee maker, saying, oh, okay, now I have to get out of this bed, I have to go there, make this right turn, left to the kitchen, the coffee maker, I guess, is somewhere there. And if this thinking kicks in, you're basically already lost in the very thing in the morning. So a good habit, follow your breathing, follow your belly rising and falling, the air flowing in and out naturally to your body. And during the day, we can continue. Another good habit during the day is what we do here in practice centers, is stopping. To have bells of mindfulness, to have reminders to make us stop our thinking, our actions, what we are doing, what we're feeling, just to check in, calm down and get in touch with ourselves again. Seeing if we've been carried away, if we've been on a horse, on a walkway, and if necessary, to get off the horse or get off the walkway. And how we do that, we come to that later. That's a good habit too. Another one, and this is a funny one, in a Sangha meeting, in an online Sangha meeting, I asked the Sangha members to exactly change a habit like with a coffee machine. I said, put in the evening your coffee machine in another place, just to change something. So when you come to the kitchen in the morning, asleep, forgetful, as a routine, and you don't find your coffee machine because you're not thinking, and then you will wake up and you will think, and then you're awake and you can do your coffee as a ritual. So Jim, let's call him Jim, right? Jim said he did it, and he placed his almond creamer somewhere else. So when he came the very next morning And as it happens, again, he was asleep, he was forgetful, he was in that I know how to make coffee thing. It's an automatism, it's an algorithm going on. This. It comes to the creamer, and his creamer is not in the cabinet where it used to be. He was really confused. He said, I looked again, still not in there. He looked maybe next door. It was nowhere next door. And then he remembered and said, and that was this moment of awakening. Aha, now I remember, now I wake up. I'm from my routine. Yesterday I put it somewhere else in order to come to this state of mind. But where? Where did I put it? And he forgot where he put it. So he had to look a little bit around, but finally he found it and could enjoy his coffee with his creamer. And we have bad habits on the opposite. We also have, everybody has bad habits. Nobody is free from that. We try to make our lives more easy without much thinking or engaging. Save energy. And, strange enough, often a habit energy is to not being able to stop thinking and to actually engage all the time, which is, to me, not saving energy, but it can be. So Thai called that radio NST. We listen to our radio NST all the time. And NST is a station that means non-stop thinking. Radio non-stop thinking. We don't give us a break to come back to our breathing, to be, and to come alive, and to be there, to be awake, to be mindful. But this thinking keeps us going, and now I can do this, and then I can do that, and what happened here, what happened there, look at this. And we engage ourselves all the time. That's a bad habit. That's why we have that good habit of stopping during the day. Another bad habit could be that we're not capable of taking care of feelings or thoughts that come up, which are not very pleasant or difficult to handle or to accept. And we tend to fight them, put them away. Nope. Or we ignore them. What? Is there a problem? I don't see a problem. Or we cover them up, saying, oops, sadness? No. I need a peanut butter cake. That makes me happy. Or I need this piece of music. And we cover up by filling in something else, which is not the original thing. That's a bad habit too, because it is harmful. It doesn't help us to get to know us and to get to love ourselves. We try to stay away because we find it unpleasant or discomfort. And then there are other bad habits, average bad habits. Everybody knows, simply being late or being always right. And we all know people in our lives who are always late or always right. And no, I'm not talking to anyone specific here, but you probably know someone. Okay, and then we have another set of habit energies, but no more space on the board. So I'll make some, maybe we do. I just need to go down a little bit. And this is also very meaningful because now we come to the ancestral habit energies. So when I go down to my knees, I go down and kneel down in front of my ancestors. So we have ancestral, let's just make clear that this doesn't belong to this. Ancestral habits versus, let's call them personal habits. Ancestral. That's enough. And we also all have them. Every family has inherited habit energies from their fathers, from their mothers, and from their fathers, from your grandparents. And we also know them And when we are young, we say, oh, my dad is like that, I will never become like my dad. Only like 40 years later, I see myself doing exact the same thing. And sometimes I open my mouth and my mom comes out saying, you should wear socks, you'll get a cold, my dear. I say, Mom, what are you doing here? Right? So that can be very strong because it goes a long way. It goes our parents, our grandparents, the stream of all our ancestors. So we have 2 parents, we have four grandparents, we have 8 grandparents, we have 16 second grade grandparents. And I looked it up. By the time we come to our 18th great grandparents, there are 1 million ancestors having our back. And that's a very strong stream. There's a very strong current. And this stream of ancestral habits carries helpful seeds and carries harmful seeds too. Helpful seeds just cultivated by experience and by volition, and harmful habits because we were not able to see, our ancestors were not able to see it, or they didn't have a practice to stop it, so there was no recognition. Maybe there was no capability of dealing with this, and we just pass them on. And it is difficult to say where it all started. We can blame our parents, we can blame our grandparents for doing it to our parents, which did it to us. But it's very difficult when you have, after 18th generation, you have 1 million people who to blame. And you rather take care of what is now instead of going back in the past and looking what went wrong and who did it. There's an Italian saying, and our Italian brother used to say it, it's not about the sinner, it's about the sin. So we don't want to point fingers to something, but we want to do something and transform something. So I have in my family also helpful and harmful habits. And not really a harmful, but kind of a bad, funny habit in my family is food. It's all around food. My family loves food. And why? This is another story probably. But when we go shopping, my mom, my dad, or me, or my sister, or together, best together, we buy a lot. We buy a lot of food. And we say, shall we buy like 1 more cabbage? Maybe we need it. Yeah, sure. Or better to take 2 packages of this. Sure, go ahead, you know. And then, of course, we store a lot of food at home. And we have a big pantry and a big storage in the basement, in the kitchen, everywhere. And because there is this wish, or always to have a lot or enough, or you never know, maybe guests are coming, so we cook a lot. You know, in case somebody brings their friend home, or you never know. So you better cook more than too less. And because we cook a lot, we also eat a lot. Right? We like to eat. And I learned later when I went to friends, or in my monastic life to different lay friends, to their houses, nobody eats as much as my family. And I had to share this one day with my family. I said, we are eating too much. And they said, what do you mean we're eating too much? I said, well, nobody eats as much as we do. And they couldn't believe me. And because we eat so much, but we are not like, my parents are not very big or strong. So we have leftovers. We have also a lot of leftovers. And these leftovers, we have to freeze and cook another day or warm them up another day. And I have inherited this habit energy. When I was the shopper here at Deer Park, I was exactly like my mom. I opened my mouth and my mom spoke. Let's take 1 more box, brother, because you never know, how many people will come for the day of mindfulness, and the mind can come up with a lot of different reasons why. And you can ask my cooking team here. I'm always cooking too much because I'm staying there and I'm pouring in things into my pot, and I think, will this be enough? Like, in counting the brothers, Seeing they're all young, they're all strong, they had working meditation. I better one more. And I pour it in. And fair enough, I'm also eating too much. I'm standing in front of the serving line and I'm doing my contemplations, and I vow to be moderate and not to eat too much, not to take too much on my bowl, until I stand there with my bowl in front of the tray or pot, and I do 1 spoon and 2 spoons. I think, it's only half full. I'm really hungry. And I don't know what fear comes up there. Will I starve today? Is this my last day because I didn't take a 3rd spoon? It's ridiculous, but this is what is going on in me. So I'm taking 2 more, just to be sure. And just to find out while eating, I'm full already. There's still a half bowl in here, exactly the amount I was starting to consider not to take anymore. And when we're cooking, because I'm cooking so much, we also have leftovers. So now in a monastery with cooking rotation, you have another cooking team cooking the next day. And so one excuse for me could be that the cooking team next day has to cook less. And some brothers are happy. They're saying, that's great, cook as much as you want because they know me, so I have less work the next day. But others would also like to offer a dish, like I really love cooking and I really like offering dishes to the brothers. And I'm taking the chance for these brothers to cook their own dish because they have to warm up my leftovers. So that's I call it funny, but it's a bad habit, and I'm still working on it. On the other side, my family has wonderful habits. My family loves people, very generous to help when people I need. My family is just and engaged. In my family, we had a lot of monks, priests from the Catholic side. We had mayors, we had politicians. My dad is engaged, my mother in the community, my dad in politics. So really I'm a Buddhist monk. And that's a beautiful habit energy that we hope we can pass on. If not to my children, then I can pass it on by my actions and by my deeds and words. And personal habits. So the ancestral have this strong current. And personal habits are something I develop and cultivate my own life based on experiences or hurts I have experienced, or just ideologies that I take on and cultivate a habit that forms my identity too. So a bad habit of mine, which I have, is money. You don't want to give me money. I cannot handle money. And maybe this is the reason I became a monk, because we don't have money. We have a little bit of pocket money, and I cannot keep money with me. I just don't value it enough. I never did. My mom, when I was a teenager, started going out, and I asked her if she has some money for me for the weekend. And she says, how much do you need? And I said, whatever. And she said, for the whole weekend, okay, I'll give you 100. So she gave me 100, and she said, don't forget to bring back the change. I said, sure. So Sunday night, I come back home, and she said, where's the change? And I said, no change. Okay, so next week, I asked again, and she said, how much? And I said, whatever. She said, last time I gave you 100, this time I give you 50. But bring back the change. Sunday evening, she says, is there any change? I said, no change. The following week, she gave me 20, and then no change. So my mother said, I better give you nothing, because I give you 10 or 100, you spend it all. Like, that's a gift. But when I had 100, I would treat my friends. And if I had 10, my friends would treat me. So that's the deal, right? But you don't want to make me the treasurer of the Sangha. The shopper was borderline already. But I also have good habits. I have good habits. I want to water my flowers. I recently cultivated a habit which I find is very sweet and helpful. Here in the monks' residence, we have a bathroom for the brothers, and we have slippers. So when you go into the bathroom, there are waiting slippers, and you do what you have to do, and when you go out, you leave them and leave the bathroom. So what I'm doing in the last time, I'm walking backwards out of the bathroom like a scuba diver, so that the slippers would be in the right direction. If the next brother comes, he sees the slippers and he just slips in and continues to go. And does whatever he wants to do when he steps out, like going against the direction. But the other day I saw Fabioy, the two of us were in the bathroom, and he exited earlier. I came, actually. I was outside, wanted to enter the bathroom, and he just exited and turned around like a scuba diver and went out, and we looked at each other, and he gave me a big smile. And it warmed my heart so much. And I thought, wow, this is so lovely. I'm doing it to make the life of the brother behind me a little bit more beautiful. And it was infecting Brother Fabioy. And sometimes I forget, sometimes the brothers do it, sometimes not, and it doesn't matter. It just gives me joy when I step out of the bathroom like a scuba diver, opening the way for the brother just to make his life a little bit easier. So, this is what I found concerning habit energies, doing a little bit research within and without. But I think the most important thing is to look and to see if and how our habit energies are contributing to our well-being. Or if they give us choice. Not like being on the walkway or on the horse, freedom and choice. Or even joy, like the slipper thing really gives me joy and peace. And if not, how to break a bad habit. Maybe we can enjoy one sound of the bell now. How to break bad habits. YouTube is full of it. 10 best tips to break bad habits. Slaughter your dragon. Fight your enemy. And I thought I'm in an action movie. And I thought that movies mirror life, but it seems like life mirrors movies in the meantime, and we build our literacy around action movies. So why should we break habits? Now, looking at what we have discovered so far, we can just like change the course of the ancestral stream, for example, divert it, or we can stop the horse or tame the tiger. We don't need to kill the tiger or the horse, slaughter or break it. It's really not needed. And when I say taming the tiger, I remember the book, The Little Prince. Do you know the book, The Little Prince? If you don't know it, you got to read it. It's a must-read. It's a very sweet, poetic manual for life and people you meet in your life. Very beautiful. So in that book, The Little Prince meets the fox. And he wants to become the fox's friend. But the fox says, if you want to be my friend, you need to tame me. You need to tame me. And the little prince doesn't know and asks, how do I tame you? And he says, you have to come every day to the same place here, at the same time, every day a little bit closer, so I get used to you. I become accustomed to you. And then one day, when this happens a lot, learning, receiving training, studying, practicing, after repetition, then we are friends. And the fox also says, one only understands what one tames. And that's also very eye-opening. Like, if we want to understand something, we need to tame it. And taming meaning coming closer to it, becoming accustomed to it, learning about it. Let's say becoming intimate, close. Which is a complete different approach than breaking or slaughtering. It's much more gentle. And I wonder how Thai approaches habit energies. What would Thai say when habit energies arise? And I found it. This is what Thai says to his habit energies. We know this is so typical Thai. Dear habit, I see you. I see you. I'm here with you. I'm here for you. I'm your friend. We can tame each other. I can tame you, you can tame me. We become close. I see you. There's this energy of mindfulness. In Thai, in a magazine, they called him the father of mindfulness. It's like the mother, and he's the father of mindfulness. He brings in and shines the light of mindfulness, concentration and insight on that habit energy, recognizing it, and dealing with it very gently and kindly, knowing that these habit energies, these strong emotions or strong energies, are nothing outside of us which we can just kill and then they're dead, or we can cut them off. But no, they're inside of us, and we have to tame them. We have to transform them, accept them, and be with them in the right here and right now. Dear habit energy, I see you. So Thai, when he's speaking about transforming habit energies, changing the course, or strong emotions, he always uses the image of a mother taking care of her baby. Again, the mother comes today. And why does he do that? Taking the example of the mother and her baby. Because that relationship of the mother and her baby implies so much, implies the unconditional love from the mother for her baby. There's not much thinking, there is unconditional love, there is compassion, there is this care of a mother for her baby, which in best case, if we want to cultivate helpful, awake, mindful habits, how to treat ourselves and how to be with ourselves is the way to go with compassion towards ourselves. Let me erase this quickly, and then we will go through the process of the mother taking care of her child. Continuous drop cleans the board. Continuous wipes make it shine. You see how resistant habit energies can be. Like here, these words, you really have to put energy in it. It's not like I just wish them to be away and they are away, no. I have to take care of them with love and scrub them here a little bit, left and right. That's good enough. Thank you, my dear. I see you. So, Thai uses the example of a mother taking care of a baby. Mother, And let's say the mother is somewhere in the house and the baby is somewhere else in the house and it starts crying. So the mother, being in another place, hears the baby crying and recognizes the suffering, hearing suffering, recognizes the crying of the baby, hearing that it needs attention. So that's always our first step, right? Recognizing. Let me have more space here. I need a bit more space. Mother. Recognizing. Recognizing. So what the mother does is, I hear you, I see you, and I will be here for you. The mother will probably put down whatever she was doing right now and go to the other room and hold the baby. So the thing is, hearing, crying baby. Recognizing the suffering, putting down what I'm doing, going to the suffering. Then I come to the room where the baby is crying, and the mother would immediately take the baby in her arms and take care of it, saying, my dear baby. But would not look right away as the first thing, why does the baby cry? Is it like too bright? Is it too dark? Is it too cold? Is the music of the neighbors too loud? That all has time. The most important thing is now the suffering of the baby. I want to be here for the baby. And she holds it and she rocks it. And maybe she hums a song, says, it's fine. It's going to be fine, baby. I'm here. I'm here for you. I see you. So that's embracing the baby. Embracing the pain. Embracing our strong energy, our habit energy, to be there with it. May it be difficult, may it be painful, may it be loud when a baby cries and doesn't stop. It can be nerve-killing, like if it doesn't stop for half an hour, you might be good rocking it for 5 minutes, hoping that it will fall asleep again, but if it does not, I'm really embracing it. So the mother would hold the baby, hold the baby. And while the mother is rocking the baby, is there and taking care of it, and you see this tender image of the mother, and that's exactly what we need to do with our habits, with our strong emotions, with feelings when they come up and they are not pleasant, they are painful. That's exactly what we can do. Being there. And it is painful, it is loud, but I'm going to do it. And while mother is doing that, she's looking deeply and she says, why is baby crying? And then she starts investigating around, seeing, is it too bright here in the room? Is it too dark? Was baby just alone? Or maybe it is hungry? Are the diapers full? And it's investigating, so looking deeply. Looking deeply. This marker is slowly not looking deeply anymore. Okay, that's better. And she's investigating baby's suffering. Baby's suffering. And just as I investigated what is the reason for these words not being so bold, I got an insight. I got an insight that I may change the marker and it will be better. So the mother gets an insight too. Investigating, so holding the baby in her arm, rocking it, humming to it, and then looking deeply, what could it be, what it is, what baby needs, what it is, what I'm needing right now. You're automatically investigating things within and without again. And you're checking the forehead. There's a temperature. Giving it a little finger and see if it sucks, if it's hungry. You're tapping the diapers. And sure enough, looking deeply, you will get an insight. You will get an insight of what it is as a fruit of your investigation. There is insight. So the mother checking different possibilities feels, oh my God, yes, the diapers are loaded, right? Let's write this down. See, it brings us joy. Diapers loaded. And with that insight, the mother sets herself free from the suffering. The mother has a choice, from all that stream. Here we are looking deeply, and now we have a choice. And that choice is our transformation. Transformation. And it's also liberating us from being caught in that current, in that stream of that emotion, of that suffering. And what we do is, in this case, we change the diapers and end the baby's suffering. Suffering. So from recognizing suffering happening by hearing something, feeling something, seeing something, we go and take care of it. That's the first thing and the only thing we want to do. We don't want to know why the house burned down. There's often, we have this example of a burning house. When you come back to your house and you see it in flames, the first thing you want to do is to find water and how do you say, distinguish the fire. And not the first thing you want to do is run around saying, who put my house on fire? I want to see and talk to that person. What happened here? Why is that fire here? You want to take action. And this is what the mother does, and this is what we shall do. The first thing when we experience suffering is being there for the suffering, for ourselves, rocking ourselves, comforting us, saying, I'm here for you. I see you, I hear you, we are here together. And shine, as Tai, the light of mindfulness onto this emotion. Tai is inviting another seed to that seed of suffering. He's inviting the seed of mindfulness, of compassion, of presence. So that seed of sadness is not alone. And they are a sangha, they become a sangha. And our sadness cannot be that strong because the mindfulness is there. I am here, my awareness is there. And by doing so, then we have time to let it sink in and see what is happening here. Why is that happening? And we look deeply into our actions, into our thinking, into the environment, and we become an insight and see, yeah, sure, because I did that, I find myself here now. And then I am free. Then I'm free to act and liberate myself from that stream. Now, how does that look like with habit energies? The topic we are here for. How do we translate it into habit? Let's take my example of the food to have a concrete example. So let's say it's my cooking day and I'm making spaghetti. I'm making great spaghetti. And I'm carrying spaghettis from the cabinet to the counter, and something feels wrong. I have a sense something is wrong, like the mother hearing something, but I hear it internally. And then I think, there's a lot of spaghetti here in my hand. So I see something, I see my suffering, I see, let's say, a lot of spaghetti. A lot spaghetti. Well, this markers They are definitely not my family. Is that one too? Not my stream. Oh, this one is good. Spaghetti. A lot. So now I hear something within. I feel a concern. Something doesn't feel, it's odd. So I go to the counter, put them down, and I start stopping. I start being there for myself. I'm not continuing and opening all those packages. Something is odd and I want to be with that. So what I'm doing is I will stop and start breathing. Start breathing and being there for myself and looking inside of me. What is happening? Rocking my baby. And by rocking my baby, I also have the chance to look more deeply and see, what is it? Why is it so much spaghetti here in front of me? And then I might investigate and see, yesterday the brothers ate really a lot, so maybe this is why I'm intuitively taking out more. Or I investigate, is there a lot of leftover from yesterday, or is there no leftover and I think I have to make more? Or is it at the end coming from inside of me and it is my ancestral habit energy to always cook too much? Bing. And the same as for the mother, at one point it resonates with you and you know what it is, you get an insight. So looking deeply is investigating too. Investigating the causes. And the insight is my ancestral habits. The diapers are loaded. I got them. So with this insight is my choice. And now I have the choice to take 2 or 3 packs of spaghetti back to the cabinet, or I can still cook them all. But I have a choice. I'm not caught in that stream, in that current that pushes me and gives me no choice. So now I will just say choice, because now it's up to me. I can transform it, at least I have the power to do so. And Thai, using mindfulness, concentration and insight applied to this, uses mindfulness to recognize and embrace the suffering, to be there, to be able to stop and be with it. Now we say where there's mindfulness of something, there's concentration. Because when I'm mindful of my baby, my mind concentrates on that baby and not why it cries, but my mind is concentrated on the suffering of the baby. So it already starts here and goes into looking deeply. Here we go, concentration. And when you have mindfulness and concentration, you're mindful of something, you generate presence and awareness. Your mind is focused on that one thing, you're able to look deeply and to see the root of your suffering. So there's insight arising. And from that insight, you have the choice to liberate yourself, to be transformed. So from looking deeply, we have the insight that helps us to set us free. And that's the power of mindfulness, that we don't have to wait for anyone to save us from who we are. And by that, the walkway, this moving walkway, becomes more a freeway. With the help of mindfulness, concentration and insight, and a freeway with many exits. Right? We are on that stream with other cars and it has many exits. So each time an insight occurs, an exit occurs. Imagine you're on that moving walkway and you have an insight and there would a door appear at that move and you could get out and get your coffee or your newspapers or go to the restroom. So each time we have an insight, we have an exit. We have the chance to get out of that cycle, of that stream that is carrying us somewhere where we don't have a choice, where we maybe don't want to even be. So, to conclude, I want to summarize what we have gathered here today. So first, habit energies. Habit energies can be strong, are a stream, don't give us choice, but are not necessarily bad. Secondly, there's nothing to kill or to cut off, but rather to divert or stop or tame, transform or liberate. It's much more gentle and much more resonating. And so, third, we need to learn how to be gentle and kind to ourselves in this very moment, and cultivating mindfulness, concentration, and insight to create exits, to liberate us and to set us free. Thank you.